Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for everyone that's new here, my name is Lynn Taggart. I make YouTube videos to try and give folks thinking about making a move to Oklahoma a little bit of information about what it's like to live here. I should know, I've lived here all my life. Now if you're thinking about Oklahoma as your possible next home, reach out to me via phone, text, or email, and let's chat. As a lifelong Oklahoma City resident, I think I know this place pretty well, and my local knowledge is pretty extensive. How extensive? Well, let's just say it's taken a few years to compile, if you know what I mean. So if you clicked on this video because, like millions of your fellow Americans, you understand that money's tight right now, and you're wondering how in the world can you stretch your dollars further? I get it. It's tough out there. Inflation, which is defined as too many dollars chasing too few goods, is still running amok. We all agree on that? So where's the too many dollars part coming from? Well, the folks in Washington, in their infinite wisdom, keep wanting to pay for everything under the sun, which means the U.S. government has to keep printing more and more money to pay for these programs. The result? Everything, and I mean everything, has gone up rapidly in price, with inflation peaking at 9% last year and stubbornly refusing to come down much. Groceries, gas, you name it, just about anything you can think of right now, prices are going through the roof. Speaking of gas prices, I don't know how you folks in California do it. I mean, come on, $6 a gallon? Really? No wonder people are fleeing the state. Don't believe me? Check out my video here. Now, if you have two working spouses like in our house, I'm guessing your family eats out a lot. We do. Restaurant prices are equally absurd. I mean, come on, $10 for a bowl of soup at a local fast casual restaurant? Really? $30 for two people to eat 2 hamburgers at a Five Guys? $12 for an order of 3 chicken strips at Cane's? The two of us these days can't go anywhere without it costing at least $25 or more. I imagine that eating out and trying to feed a family of 4, do you have to take out a loan these days? The situation is just ridiculous. The government's key measure of inflation, the Consumer Price Index, called the CPI, it measures core inflation, but get this, it leaves food and energy out of the equation, saying those components are too volatile to be included in the calculation. Well, duh. Those are the costs that are skyrocketing that affect every American. How convenient of the government to leave them out of the number they post every month. Now, as I film this in November 2023, the government tells us that inflation seems to be moderating, as in coming down slightly. But the dirty little secret that no one likes to talk about is that, yeah, the rate of inflation may be coming down, but the actual high prices we're experiencing keep going up, just not as fast. All the while, wages across the country are not keeping pace, which essentially means you just keep getting poorer and poorer each month with less money left over after you pay your bills. So, are you in the market to buy a house maybe? Well, good luck with that. Home prices have recently shot up along with mortgage rates, which now stand a little below 8%. What's worse is that first-time home buyers are being priced out of the market. And to add insult to injury, rents keep spiraling upwards as well. Comment down below, how are things going in your area when trying to cope with these high prices? Would love to hear what you have to say. I personally believe that the current economic climate in the U.S. is forcing many Americans to question their current living situation and wondering out loud, is there anywhere in the U.S. where the cost of living is not sky high and housing prices are not completely out of control? You know, where you can actually stand a chance of making ends meet each month? Well, fortunately there is. May I present Exhibit A. Welcome to Oklahoma, everyone. Lots of folks are flocking to the Sooner State these days, primarily for 2 reasons. 1, the extremely low cost of living, and 2, our very affordable housing. No, we're not completely immune to the overall effects of rising prices, as I mentioned earlier. No one is. But at least here, things are more manageable than elsewhere in the U.S. In this video, we'll give you some good news for a change and talk about how Oklahoma stacks up against the national averages when it comes to things like utilities, food, healthcare, transportation, goods and services, and the big kahuna, housing. We'll also talk about the other money drain on your family's finances, taxes, my least favorite subject, and how Oklahoma compares very favorably in this category as well. The bottom line is that I think you'll find that Oklahoma might just be the place for you and your family if you're looking to really stretch your dollars further and open to a possible move to make it happen. So before we dive into the details, do me a huge favor, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and if you'd like to be notified when I post new content, hit that little bell icon. Doing so lets the YouTube algorithm know you approve of the content I'm putting out. Your support also encourages me and keeps me motivated to continue making this content, which I try to do every week. So let's talk about cost of living. When it comes to overall cost of living, how does Oklahoma stack up versus national averages? Well, to be honest with you, really well. Oklahoma comes in as having the 3rd lowest cost of living in the United States, averaging $34,000 per year, and trailing only Kansas and Mississippi. That got your attention? Hope so. In terms of comparison to the national average, Oklahoma's cost of living number, which does include housing costs, by the way, we'll cover that in a different category here in a second, is anywhere from a low of 13% to a high of 17% below the national average, depending on which information source you quote. So let's break this overall number down further and go through these quickly. Here in Oklahoma, our utility costs run about 5% below the national averages. Our two largest utilities are Oklahoma Gas and Electric, OG&E, and Public Service of Oklahoma, PSO. And both these utilities do a good job of operating efficiently and keeping a good lid on price increases. Food costs here run about 5% below national averages. Still too high in my humble opinion, but I promise no more rants. Healthcare costs here run about 8% below national averages. The state is blessed to have an abundance of really great healthcare options available to everyone. And when it comes to transportation, our transportation costs here run about 6% below the national average. Thankfully, our gas prices here, they've fallen back into what I call the reasonable realm, running about $3 a gallon for regular. And since I mentioned it earlier, for our viewers on the West Coast, how's that price looking compared to what you pay every day? Let's talk about goods and services, the catch-all category for all of our other costs. What am I talking about here? Well, thinking about buying a pair of jeans or a pair of shoes, maybe going to the movies, maybe taking your pet to the vet, that kind of thing. So goods and services in Oklahoma run about 8% below the national average. And then we come to housing, and this one's the biggie, as I mentioned. Let's look at this in more detail. So housing affordability is a major draw for many, with Oklahoma's housing costs coming in at, you ready for this? 28% below the national average. How about that? With an average home price of just shy of $200,000, Oklahoma's home prices are the third lowest in the United States, trailing only Mississippi and West Virginia. The national average home price right now runs about $416,000. When you zero in on just Oklahoma City, where I live, our average home price is slightly higher than the state average at $240,000. And let's not forget about the renters out there. Can't forget about them. Oklahoma has the 13th lowest rental rate in the country, with median monthly rent of about $1,000 a month. The national average rent is about $2,000 per month by comparison. So you can see whether you own your own home or you rent, when it comes to affordable housing, Oklahoma is about as good as you can get in the United States. Taxes. I hate paying taxes. But at least, hey, in Oklahoma, I pay less of them than I would somewhere else. Oklahoma has the 9th lowest income tax burden in the United States, with income taxes here taking up 7.1% of a person's annual income. For those of us that are homeowners, property taxes here aren't too bad either, with Oklahoma having the 3rd lowest property tax burden in the United States, with property taxes eating 1.76% of a person's annual income. And to round out the tax trifecta, Oklahoma's sales and excise taxes come in at about 3.67%, which puts Oklahoma about mid-pack when compared to the other 50 states. So to wrap up this video with a big old bow, consider this. With Oklahoma's much lower cost of living and extremely affordable housing prices, you can see why those two factors alone are causing a lot of folks these days to seriously consider pulling up stakes and making Oklahoma their new home. Hey, my neighbors across the street did just that, moving to Oklahoma to retire from just outside LA, drawn here primarily by our more affordable and less hectic lifestyle. They made the move without knowing a soul and now have become true Okies and love their new home. And they love their friendly neighbors. So not only will you keep more money in your pocket, but you'll also be surrounded by some of the friendliest people that you'll ever meet. Not a bad combination in my opinion. So if all of this has got you thinking, pick up the phone or text or email me and let's chat. I'd love to meet you and discuss your unique situation. My contact information is shown down below. If you like this video, again, do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe buttons. I really appreciate the gesture. And please comment down below. Let me know if the cost of living is a real concern where you're living now and what's giving you the most amount of heartburn about your present living situation. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So that's it for this edition. Thanks for sticking around to the very end. You're a trooper. Be on the lookout for more videos coming your way. We'll chat again soon, everyone. Adios.